So when starting a YouTube channel, one of the things that you may ask yourself is that how am I going to film myself? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be covering whether you should shoot YouTube videos with your phone or with a DSLR. Coming up. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Just before I start off, I am so sorry for slacking on videos lately because last Saturday, from this time of the recording, last Saturday, I didn't post anything due to technical difficulties, and it's actually this video right here, which I'm doing a revamp, I guess you can say. But yesterday, and today's Sunday, so yesterday was Saturday, which I was supposed to post. I was legit just lazy. I don't want to go back to my old YouTube self, because my old YouTube self was just me being lazy, and I really want to stay on a consistent schedule so I can possibly gain some traction as far as like subs and views. I don't know, it's an option, but at least I'm doing something that's time worthy in my life. So yeah, today I'm not really going to answer your specific question, but I at least am gonna narrow down for you what camera you might want to buy, because a DSLR is better than a smartphone, but I'm gonna get to a few pros and cons of both of these so you can see the difference. But it's not that bad when you shoot on a smartphone. I used to shoot videos all the time with my smartphone on YouTube for quite a while. You can even check some of those videos out if you want, but I don't recommend you do, because I was very bad at YouTube. So I'm just gonna read off the pros and cons of the smartphone first. We're gonna start with the smartphone and we'll move on to the DSLR. I'm gonna just do 5 pros for each thing, but for the smartphone I can only find 3 cons, but the camera I can find like maybe 6, but I'm gonna just do 5 so this video is not so long. Alright, starting with pro number 1. You probably already have one right now. You might even be watching this video as we speak on a smartphone, and it's really convenient for you to shoot YouTube videos on your smartphone because you already have one right now, because like 85% of the world has a smartphone, and most smartphones have cameras. Not all, but modern day phones now, they most likely have cameras, so you should be good. All right, straight to pro number 2. You don't really need the most up-to-date smartphone. Like my friend, which has a iPhone 6s Plus, can record in 4K at 30 FPS, which is like above to what you really need, because you only need 1080p, but 4K is well over enough. And you don't really need 4K. You can shoot in full HD or even 720. So 720 is not too bad, to the point where if you get the lighting correct, you should be fine. All right, pro number 3. You can already get great image quality with your phone. Now this does depend on lighting and color correction if you have a editing software, but lighting, you really need to pay attention to lighting when you're shooting any type of YouTube video, because like this, this is a big change. Like if you notice in this video, this is a big change to my lighting, because I got a big softbox light and it looks so good right now. But I used to use this light panel that's behind me, that's using it as a backlight or a hair light kind of, so it can separate me from the background. So like this outline right here, if I turn that off, all just the shadow is just going to be dropped on my chin and neck right here, and they won't be able to see this, they won't be able to see my shoulder as much. So you really need to have like 2 is enough, but 3 points of lighting. Like I use that for just dramatic effect, but I would recommend getting a softbox light, because this one is actually like $50 and it obviously is doing its job perfectly fine. Now like an Aperture 120D costs like, well, I don't know what the price is, and it works just like this. However, the cons of this is that it doesn't it's not dimmable, or the color temperature is not like changeable, so there are some limitations that you have to go through if you want to have this light, but I'm all about this light. I like it, and I'm going to be using it for future videos and shoots, and yeah. All right, pro number 4 is that it's compact. You can slip this in your pocket so easily. You can slip it in a bag, and like unlike a big bulky DSLR, you have to put it in a separate camera bag, and you have to put that bag in like a book bag if you're like traveling, and that can be a real hassle. But if you're shooting like 4K on this, you can just slip it out of your pocket and just start shooting whatever you want to shoot. All right, pro number 5 and the last one is that it's very easy to learn. Smartphones don't have a million buttons on a DSLR or a professional camera, and it's very user friendly. Like when I get a new phone, I immediately go to the camera roll and just see what it looks like, tweak with the settings, see what I can do. Because I might use this for vlogging, maybe, I don't know, because it has 3 cameras. It has a wide angle lens, so I might vlog with this. I have no idea. Again, there are some DSLRs and mirrorless cameras that are user friendly. Like the definition of the product is to make it user friendly. Like the Canon SL2 and SL3 are very user friendly. Like literally like a toddler can learn off of this in like probably a day or 2 and start shooting professional videos. That's probably an exaggeration, but it's defined like that. I don't know if like that's actually true, but it's very user friendly that anybody can shoot on this. And with the smartphone, it's very user friendly. All you have to do is just press the record button, and there you go. Now, also, you do have to shoot landscape because it's way easier on YouTube and way easier on yourself. All right, now we're gonna get into the cons of the smartphone, and I can only find 3, so it's the best I can do. But all 3 of those have really good meaning to them and really good like reasons on why you shouldn't really shoot on a smartphone. All right, con number 1 is battery life. Now, when you're scrolling on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, your battery doesn't die down so quickly as if you were in the camera roll shooting a 10-minute long video, or if you're recording like an hour. Your battery life is gonna go from here to like here in probably 30 minutes, which is not really good if you're shooting video professionally. But if you're just shooting videos just to shoot videos, then by all means go ahead and do what you want. But I like to take videos professionally. I need a long-lasting battery for any smartphone or DSLR, but with this, it's hooked up to a wall outlet, so there's no dying battery anytime soon, and I don't really have to worry about that. That's one of the pros of having a DSLR, because you can get AC adapters. You can plug it into the wall and you won't have to worry about battery life. All right, con number 2 is storage, and depending if you don't have a micro SD card, or if you get a low gigabyte SD card, your storage is really going to be tight. And I don't really shoot videos on this unless like I'm just doing a quick little snap here and there. And storage can be a little bit heavy, especially if you're recording in 4K like the 6S Plus. Your storage is going to be gone in like minutes, because 4K is a highly compressed codec. I think I said those words correctly. I have no idea. Basically what I'm saying is that it has a high file size, so even if you like, this video right now is in 4K, so when I put it on my desktop into the editing software, it's going to take just a little bit to import into the editing software, because it's a high file size and a high compressed video, because it's in 4K. Now obviously this does depend what resolution you shoot in, but storage space, unless you get like a high gigabyte micro SD card, like I'm pretty sure there's a 128 gigabyte SD card, that'll do you for a long time if you're shooting in like 1080p. But 4K, you're probably gonna need like 500, if that's even a thing. But yeah, one of the things you need to really pay attention to is storage, and it's going to be taken up real fast depending on what resolution you shoot in and how long you shoot. All right, con number 3 is that native apps give little to no control. Now, native meaning apps that comes with the product. So like native apps on the phone would be like your Messenger or contacts or the phone, camera roll, everything that comes with the phone. If you go into your camera roll and you just press the record button and don't look in the settings, that's just putting yourself in a harder situation than you should be, because first thing I do is that I go into the settings and see what I can do. And if it's not good enough, I have to download a third-party video film app, I guess you can say, to make it better. Now, there are some free ones that you can buy, and there are some paid ones. I use Filmic Pro for this, which I haven't really used yet on YouTube, which I'm probably not going to use in the near future. I have no idea. But you should really think about getting a third-party app for shooting your videos if you want to shoot professionally. Again, this is all about shooting professionally and not just lazy and just recording everything you want to record. All right, now we got the smartphone out of the way, and we're gonna turn towards the DSLR and see what pros and cons it gives us. Starting with pro number 1 of a DSLR is that you can get a quality DSLR camera substantially less than a pro video camera. So like the Red Dragon or the Red Komodo that came out or was released not too long ago, those are professional cinema cameras, and a DSLR like this that costs like I'd say around $300. I have no idea, but like a cinema camera costs like $2, $3, or even $10,000, maybe even more, depending on like what accessories you get or lenses. Because if you buy a DSLR, which is one con, if you buy a DSLR, you have to have a lens in order to have the DSLR, because the lens matters just as much as the camera matters. I'd say the lens matters more than the camera, because how are you going to shoot something when you have no lens? Like, you really got to think about that. But anyways, you can get a very good DSLR that's really like less as far as like money that a professional video camera has or a cinema camera has. And that's one thing I like about cheap DSLRs, because they are really good. Like this right here, what you're looking at is probably $500 recording at 4K, and it looks nice. Now, like I said before, this all does depend on lighting and how you shoot it. Pro number 2 is that DSLRs weigh so much less than a cinema camera. The reason why I say that is because I have a camera stabilizer, or a steady cam, a glide cam, whatever you want to call it. And this thing is pretty heavy. It's not heavy like a huge cinema camera like the Arri Alexa. Oh wait, I forgot. Not you, Alexa.
Sorry, I don't know that.
I wasn't talking to you. Now, like this weighs like probably 2 pounds, and I can use this easily on my little stabilizer over there. Now, if I plopped on like a red Gemini on that thing, that's gonna be pretty heavy. I'm gonna have to use like a weight vest or something like that to stabilize the weight and make it so I'm not shaking so much, because I'm pretty frail, I'm pretty skinny, and I don't have that much muscle, I don't have that much strength, and I shake a little when I'm holding this one, because this is pretty heavy, I guess you can say. Yeah, one thing that you should look at is that DSLRs are way less heavier than a cinema camera. If that's only if like you want to mess with a gimbal or a steady cam, so you don't have to like shake your arm and it's so heavy, and just take a break from shooting. And if you use a DSLR, you won't be seeing those complaints anytime soon. All right, pro number 3 is that you can swap lenses on a DSLR rather than a smartphone. Now, with mine, obviously you saw is that it has 3 cameras. It has a telephoto lens, I guess, normal lens, and a wide angle lens. Usually, you want to buy, if you're vlogging or just doing handheld videos, you want to buy a wide angle lens because it shows as much of the shot as possible. Now this is shot at 24 millimeters, I believe, because this camera is a bridge camera. It's like a DSLR and a point and shoot, I guess you can say, and it can't like detach the lens and put another one on, and you can adjust the lens focal length by just switching it. It's not the best thing in the world, but yeah, like I said, if you're doing like handheld stuff or like vlogs or anything that's close up, you want to have very little focal length. Now, don't go too wide because your image can be a little distorted and look a little funky. It's really good that a DSLR has the option to swap lenses if you want to do something specific in your videos. Like if you want to do a macro close-up on an object, get a macro lens. If you want to shoot wide, get a wide angle lens. If you want to shoot normal like this, just get a normal just get a normal 18 to 55 millimeter lens. Whatever video you want to shoot, you have multiple lens options and they're all at a decent price. All right, pro number 4 is that since DSLRs record in a highly compressed format, file sizes are somewhat small. Now, obviously, this also does depend on what resolution you shoot in, but if I was shooting in like 720 or 1080, I'm fine as far as like storage, because it's not going to take as much storage as like shooting in 4K, for example. All right, pro number 5, and the last and probably the most important one, is that most, if not all, DSLRs shoot in 24 frames per second or 60. Now, you only want to shoot 60 FPS for slow motion, but right now this is in 24 frames per second. The reason why you want to shoot in 24 frames per second is because it has that natural motion blur that most of us humans see, and it's going to give that cinematic, real look. Like with most movies today, they shoot in 24 frames per second because that's what the human eye sees. Now, if you're going to shoot in 60 frames, I recommend you do that only in slow motion and B-roll, because like shooting in 60 FPS like I did in my last video, which I shouldn't have done, it looked kind of bad. Now with vlogs you can do that, but as far as like professional video like this, I won't be doing 60 FPS anytime soon, which I should have not done the last video. We're going to get into the cons of a DSLR, and the first one is that DSLR is way less. Your chances of shaky footage without a tripod, monopod, or any stabilizer is very high, because if you're shooting handheld, if you're like doing B-roll shots or just whatever handheld, your footage is going to be a lot shakier than you think. Now, if you turn on like image stabilization on a lens, if your lens is capable of doing that, or if your camera is capable of doing that, it does help it a little bit. But if you need it to be a little bit better or a lot better, you can put warp stabilizer in Adobe Premiere Pro, or I think After Effects does offer that too. I'm not sure. I'm not an After Effects person, but Adobe Premiere Pro has the option for you to stabilize it even more by using warp stabilizer. Just plop it on your footage and your footage is going to be smooth as butter. Now, it does distort your image just a tiny bit depending on how much of the warp stabilizer you want. Now, there's like a little thing that if you want to turn the stabilization percentage down, you can do that. Default is at 100%, which I do not recommend. You should turn that down to maybe like 50 or 25 or maybe even 75, depending how shaky your footage is. Yeah, that's one thing you really need to look at, is that you're gonna have a lot of shaky footage, again, if you're only shooting handheld. But this is on a tiny tripod and it's not moving, so there's not going to be any shake going on. All right, con number 2 is that cameras now record at a time limit. Most cameras today record at 30 minutes, but it used to be 12 minutes, which I don't know how people got around that. It was really hard to stop recording and then press the record button again. It was just a huge hassle that people had to go through. So with your phone, there is a time limit, but I don't think it's as short as 30 minutes. I think you can record up to an hour maybe. I have no idea. I never shot on a phone professionally and for so long. This can record up to 30 minutes, and I think this can record up to 40 minutes. This can record up to 30, which is okay depending on how long your shoot is. And I said it for like the 7th time that that's one thing you also need to look for or pay attention to, because there is a time limit, or a recording time limit, for every and most camera out there. All right, con number 3, and this is the most important one if you're paying attention on a DSLR more than a smartphone, is that if it does not have a good microphone quality, which most of them do not, you will have the worst audio quality ever. Again, if you're shooting professionally. Now, this video is mostly for professional video. Some of the pros and cons were for vlogging, but your audio quality will be so bad if you just shoot off of the camera's in-body microphone and not a shotgun mic. Like, I use a shotgun mic when I'm vlogging on this thing. This doesn't support it. Like, that's why I said with some cameras, if not most, has a microphone jack for this. You can plug up a shotgun mic or a lavalier mic. And now I would recommend shooting with a lavalier mic for starters if you're doing a sit-down video. And it's like with this, it's recording in an interface, which is recording in a software, an audio software, which I have to import into Adobe Premiere Pro to synchronize it to this. Because like, this is what the in-camera body audio on this camera sounds like, and this is what the audio from the XLR mic sounds like. Now, you obviously heard a big difference, and I just really hope you guys do not shoot your audio, or do not use your audio on with just the in-camera audio, because I'm telling you, it is the worst thing you will ever hear, again, if you're shooting professionally. All right, pro number 4 is that most DSLRs, if you buy one with a kit lens, and it comes with a kit lens, you don't really have that much flexibility with zoom, because with YouTube professional videos, you don't really need a zoom lens. But if you want a zoom lens, having a kit lens isn't really good, because you don't have that much flexibility as far as like if you want a wide angle, or if you want a close-up. So if you want a close-up, you really need a macro lens, like a 50mm 1.8. I have one of those, and it's meant for macro shots. Whatever shot you're trying to get, you need to think about what lens you're going to use and what type of angle you're trying to get. All right, pro number 5, and for the professional YouTubers and videographers and cinematographers out there, you will know what this means. Most YouTubers or most viewers of my channel really don't know what this means, but with this camera, this records in MJPEG, which is motion JPEG for the, I don't know what JPEG means or what the definition of JPEG is, but you want to shoot for shooting in RAW, because if you shoot in motion JPEG, which is what you're looking at right now, it's going to be really hard to color correct and color grade in post, because you're going to see a lot of pixelation. Now, gladly, I'm shooting in 4K, because you're going to see little to maybe even none of that pixelation when I'm color grading this or color correcting it. With RAW, though, you have any type of, if you want to do any type of correcting, color correcting or whatever, your chances of pixelation is maybe like probably 10%. Now, unfortunately, this does not shoot in RAW, which I can deal with that. But if you're trying to do some professional video and have it look good by a little color grade or color correction, you want to aim for a camera that shoots in RAW. Resolution doesn't matter if it comes to RAW, because RAW because color correction does really matter in a professional video, kind of, but also lighting does. And that is all the pros and cons of shooting with a DSLR. Now, hopefully in this video, I have made up somebody's mind of whether or not you should shoot your videos with a DSLR or a smartphone. And as far as like buying options, I'll get that in a different video, probably next video. It's not a promise, but maybe next video is going to be options for DSLRs, or maybe even smartphones, if I might add a few things in there. Once again, I am so sorry for slacking off for videos, because I do post on every Saturday. There's no set time when on Saturday yet, which I normally do 1:15, which was so lazy of me not doing yesterday by the time of this recording. But please like this video and comment down below what was your decision, and hopefully I made up your mind if you did pick the right decision. And honestly, in my opinion, I would shoot for getting a DSLR, because you have the most manual controls than a smartphone, like I said, with the native apps. But unless you get a third-party app that is capable of doing that, then you have all the manual options. But it's a big debate in the YouTube world, shooting with your smartphone or a DSLR. And I'm done for the day. Please turn on notifications so you see all my videos when I post them. I'm going to get back on track and shoot for Saturdays at 1:15 p.m. if I'm right, Illinois time or Eastern time. I think I'm in the Eastern time. I'm in Illinois, so Chicago time, I guess you could say. I don't know what time zone I'm in. I think I'm in Eastern time. But I'm done talking, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.